Hello again, gamers. If you've been paying any attention at all recently, you've probably noticed that we are in the midst of a government shutdown. During this period, there's been a lot of commentary on who's to blame. Is it the Democrats refusing to approve the clean continuing resolution that went through the Senate? Is it the Republicans refusing to extend healthcare subsidies that are currently set to expire for many people's insurance plans under Obamacare? And to answer this question, first, I would like to show you a clip of an interview featuring the current Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who went on C-SPAN recently where he ended up taking some viewer call-ins. I think this clip illustrates a very important point about the current political landscape in the United States. So take a look.
Virginia, Samantha, you're on with Speaker Johnson.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. So my question or comments are related to what you said yesterday about not being open to pass any legislation to ensure that military gets paid. I'm sure you can tell by my voice I'm very shaky. Just want you to hear a little bit about my family. I have two medically fragile children. I have a husband who actively serves this country. He suffers from PTSD from his two tours in Afghanistan. If we see a lapse in pay come the 15th, my children do not get to get the medication that's needed for them to live their life because we live paycheck to paycheck. I heard you earlier say that you side with President Trump on anything that he says. Well, I just read an article this morning that said he absolutely wholeheartedly believes that there needs to be legislation put in so that we do not miss a paycheck. You have the power to do that. And as a Republican, I'm very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you because you do have the power to call the House back. You did that, or you refused to do that just for a show. I am begging you to pass this legislation. My kids could die. We don't have the credit because of the medical bills that I have to pay regularly. You could stop this, and you could be the one that could say military is getting paid. And I think that it is awful, and the audacity of someone who makes six figures a year to do this to military families is insane.
All right, Samantha.
Samantha, I'm so sorry to hear about your situation. The reason I've been so angry this week, and they've been calling me out on media, Johnson's angry. I am angry because of situations just like yours. I have a big military district, and my district is the home of the Global Strike Command at Barksdale. I want you to hear something very clearly. The Republicans are the ones delivering for you. We had a vote to pay the troops. It was the continuing resolution 3 weeks ago. Every single Republican but two voted to keep the government open so that your paycheck can flow. Every Democrat in the House, except for one, voted to close it. The Democrats are the ones that are preventing you from getting a check.
So I want you to take a second to think about what was his actual response to the question. Here we have a mother calling in to tell the Speaker of the House of Representatives that she cannot afford to go without pay as a military family, and telling them that as the Speaker of the House, he has the power to decide to negotiate with Democrats and pass a bipartisan bill, which it must be a bipartisan bill because in order to get through the Senate, there are required 60 votes to fund the government. And immediately, he shifts the focus of the viewer's question to going on a monologue about how actually he knows just how many people are suffering under the current Republican leadership's inability to pass legislation to fund the government, but that it is not actually his fault that there is no bill passing through the Senate. No, it is actually the Democrats' fault. The Democrats, who hold a minority in the Senate, in the House, who do not hold the office of the presidency, who hold a 3-6 minority in the Supreme Court, that with all the power currently held by the Republican Party in every branch of government, Democrats are the ones responsible for this shutdown. And I really just want you to take a second to think and ask yourself, does that make any sense? Is there any world, any universe in which you can actually see Democrats holding no power in any part of the government, but somehow if the government shuts down, it is entirely their fault? And what exactly is the holdup? What is the Democrats' reasoning for not passing this clean, continuing resolution being put forth by the Republicans? Well, there's a very simple issue on the line right now. Healthcare insurance subsidies under Obamacare are set to expire by the end of this year. And unless additional legislation is passed to extend these subsidies, we will see some 20 million Americans have an average 75% increase in their healthcare costs. As you heard from this woman calling in, and so many others around the country, there are millions of families living paycheck to paycheck on the edge of poverty who do not have the ability to afford a rise in their healthcare prices. And so what you're going to see, if these subsidies are allowed to expire, is millions of people forgoing health insurance, being it either because they can't afford it, or they think to themselves, I'm healthy enough, it's not worth it for me to pay these insanely high rates. But the reality is that everyone is in amazing health condition until they're not. And you really don't have much control over whether you have a workplace accident, some sudden onset of disease, and all of a sudden your missing health insurance turns into a death sentence. And so what Democrats are asking for is to simply add to the continuing resolution an addition to extend subsidies for people's healthcare prices under Obamacare, so that millions of people aren't forced to go without coverage. And yet, as the government is presently shut down, our Republican House of Representatives members are on vacation. That is not a joke. That is not an exaggeration. That's not a fake news Democrat lie. The government is currently in the midst of a shutdown, and the Speaker of the House will not call back his party members from vacation so there can be a negotiation of policy to end the shutdown. What we are watching here is a man sitting over the hardship and the future death of his fellow American constituents and lying to their faces. Mike Johnson brazenly goes on these news shows and announces to the people that his party has been working day and night tirelessly to end the shutdown, that Donald Trump doesn't openly seek to put the lives of American people on the line to continue his authoritarian ways where he rules without challenge. And yet, as he sits on television telling us this lie, that he truly cares for the people, that he truly wants the best for us, he is yet allowing his leadership of all House Republicans to remain on vacation. A vacation that he has taken personal action to extend to 3 weeks after the government had already shut down on October 1st. So let us be clear. The government is in the midst of a shutdown right now because Republicans want it to be that way. Because it is too much of an ask from the Democrats to simply receive a healthcare subsidy for millions of people who are unable to afford higher prices. And not only that, there are no negotiations ongoing, no debates, nothing to fix the ongoing crisis. Republicans are sitting in their ivory towers waiting, hoping Democrats will allow them to just continue to rule with that authoritarian fist unchallenged. And so if you're listening to me right now and you see the way our country is changing for the worse, you see the way our democracy is eroding before our very eyes, then I ask that you pay attention. Listen to the words your representatives are speaking to you, and pay attention to what's going on around you. The military being sent to Democratic cities, Donald Trump unable to speak coherent sentences, going out of the public eye for days, a week at a time, for unknown reasons. We have a president who is clearly dying or has some other disease, maybe dementia, who cannot think clearly, who has his brain ruled by the chaos and drivel of Fox News, leading our country, and we cannot allow our government to erode while we sit here and turn a blind eye. We cannot stand and watch as our country falls before us, as our democracy is ripped apart, as our institutions, our educational systems are broken down, and just allow it to happen. Let us be clear. We as the American people, especially as young people, have the ability to enact change through protest, through speaking out, and through voting. It is not a coincidence that the one thing Donald Trump tells all of his supporters to do on the election day is not to complain on social media, but to vote. There is no more powerful force that we have as young people or as people of America than to vote, to see leaders put into power who have our best interests at mind. And so all I ask now, as there is no ongoing elections unless you are in one of the states that has a special election currently, is that you pay attention, you protest, and you prepare to vote for the upcoming midterms. We must hold the Speaker of the House, along with every Trump sycophant sitting in Congress, accountable. And we must be the ones to enact change that our leaders refuse to enact.